So we are thrilled to be here in tribute to my father. My father, if you know Yiddish, was a mensch. And that means he was a really good human. And he tried to make the world a better place. He did it through his writing. And he passed on his passion for doing the right thing to me. And I do it through circus. So to start the evening off, for those of you who might not be familiar with him, we're going to show a short clip, the trailer for a documentary that was made about him. It's called The Pleasures of Being Out of Step.
This is a newspaper I'm reading. It's brilliant. It's called The Village Voice, and it has a very brilliant editorial staff, plus some very erudite contributors. See, we've got Nat Hentoff.
Nat Hentoff is a writer and possibly the leading writer on American jazz.
Certainly anybody who was interested in the music knew the name Nat Hentoff, universally known as the American critic.
There is a cry in the work of the best of the jazz players. It represents a man's being in thorough contact with his feelings and being able to let them out. And that cry, Coltrane certainly has.
He made you want to hear the record that second. There was this urgency to his writing that got you excited.
I'm not sure that I ever thought of Nat Hentoff as part of the counterculture. I think Nat wrote about the counterculture.
I've never heard such a spontaneous display of fantasy imagination. For about an hour and a half, I listened. I didn't interview, I listened.
He thought that in a society where free speech is possible, there is a cost that one has to be willing to endure to be free.
And when you carry it as far as Nat does, it takes a lot of explaining.
He loves conflict. It's great when everybody disagrees with you and is coming down on you, and you can stand there and say, no, this is what I believe.
You never know what impact you have, if any. If you want to go into this business to change the world, get another day job. So I write to write and hope that some of it has some effect.
I went to the Vanguard one night and I said to Miles, Mr. Davis, can I interview you? And he said, no. Off the top of my head, I said, I bet you if I was Nat Hentoff, you would do it.
So as the screen goes up and the aerial rigging comes down, so one of my father's closest jazz friends was Duke Ellington. And he asked Duke once, because he was touring, and it was hard, and he was getting old, and my father said, when are you going to retire? And Duke looked at him and said, retire? To what? And my father was the same way. He passed away this January, but he was writing a column, a syndicated column, up until August of this year, and he was talking about the books he was still going to write. So we're going to open the show with a Duke Ellington piece, and performing it, I'm thrilled to have Nat Hentoff's granddaughter, my daughter, the youngest human cannonball, female human cannonball on Ringling Brothers, but we couldn't do the canon in here, so we're bringing an excerpt from her one-woman show, Eliana Grace.
This is a newspaper I'm reading. It's
the elegant Eliana Grace. So when I was trying to, and the marvelous Melvin, who you'll see later, when I was curating the show and choosing the music, I tried to, that's a little close to the edge, guys. I tried to use music that was important to my father, and it was near impossible because so many songs and so many musicians meant so much to him. But this song that's going to accompany this act was the first piece of music that really caught his attention. He was walking down the streets of Boston, and the record stores used to have music blaring out of the loudspeakers in front of the store. And this song was playing, and he said it made him stop in his tracks and cry out loud. And he went in to find out what it was, and it was Artie Shaw's Nightmare. And performing to Artie Shaw's Nightmare, I'm proud to present to you the captivating Chiron. the captivating Kyron. So my father wrote numerous books, but one of the books that impressed me the most was called Our Children Are Dying. It was the story of Elliot Shapiro, a principal at a school in Harlem. I read this book when I was maybe 11 years old, and it really stuck with me, and it had a tremendous impact on the work that I do as a teacher. Circus Harmony brings together children from throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area, from East St. Louis, from Festus, from Imperial, from Ferguson, and they all come together in the circus ring, and they find it doesn't matter where you're from. I know it's St. Louis, it doesn't matter where you go to school, doesn't matter race, religion, what your parents do, or if you even have parents. It matters what you do when you get in the ring. This next performer that you're going to see is a senior. So if you come and see us at City Museum, you watch all these kids grow up, and then they go off, like Melvin, who is helping Eliana, who you'll see out here later, is now touring the country. This young man just got back from auditioning at 2 circus colleges in Canada. We're holding our breaths, waiting to hear. And the music he's performing to is Charlie Mingus. And Mingus didn't call his music jazz, he called it Mingus music. So, Chauncey with Boogie Stop Shuffle. Our champion, Chauncey. So Circus Harmony would not be possible without our incredible board of directors, and almost all of them are here tonight. If you would stand up so that we can say thank you. our staff, we have an incredible staff of teaching artists, all the Circus Harmony teachers. They're scattered around as well. Stand up so we can thank you. And while we're using music that I chose from my dad's life, we have a music director, Adam Rugo, who is here. And if you come see our annual big show, we have an incredible band featuring some amazing local musicians. Adam Rugo, I know you're out there somewhere. Now, the documentary Pleasures of Being Out of Step ends with a Duke Ellington song called What Am I Here For? So I'm here to give these young people an opportunity. And right now we have our one-wheel wonders, the incredible Isabella, and the amazing Ari performing to Duke Ellington's What Am I Here For? Isabella and Ari. So, Nancy, we've been playing in your house throughout the city this month. We opened our first ever photo exhibit at the Kranzberg Gallery at the Sheldon Art Gallery, and it's up until September 23rd. You should come and see it. It's called Defying Gravity and Other Limitations. It's photos of our flying children going back to the early 2000s. So please visit them. And then I spoke at the Nancy Jazz Lounge. Jazz at the Bistro has a book club. You guys should sign up. And they read one of my dad's books, so I was speaking there in your lounge there. And now here we are at the Dot Zac. So this next act also performed at the Fox Theater. In fact, she was the 2014 winner of the St. Louis Teen Talent Competition. She's been with us since she was a little girl. She's still kind of little, but she's now one of our teachers, and her specialty is actually the curriculum for our little kids. You can start taking class with us when you're 3, and our oldest student is 91, was featured in Maturity in Its Moves, and does trapeze. So you're never too old to run away and join the circus. I bring you our daring, darling, Danisha, performing to a song written for me when I was born by Quincy Jones, played here by Count Basie. It is called Jessica's Day. Alicia. So last January, I actually went to visit Quincy Jones and taught him to juggle. I also gave him the book Watch Out for Flying Kids about our trip to Israel, because the first time we went to Israel was 2007, and I got a phone call right before we left, and it was somebody whistling that tune. And he's like, "Do you know who this is?" And I'm like, "No." He said, "Do you know what song that is?" And I'm like, "Yes, Jessica's Day." And it was Quincy wishing us luck on the start of that adventure, which was really amazing. So we've been doing this here in St. Louis a long time, since 1989. I've been teaching young people. The St. Louis Arches started then. All the performers you're seeing are either current St. Louis Arches or alumni from the St. Louis Arches. And we're really thankful for this place for the show, but also Gail Saliwata Cassily is here, and City Museum gave us our home. We perform there year-round. We do over 500 shows a year. Over 500 shows. What other performing arts school of any sort has that opportunity? And it's really helped our children going forward. We teach them many important skills. Besides these kind of skills, life skills like focus, persistence, teamwork, presenting yourself in public, meeting people from other backgrounds. You can learn all about it on the website, circusharmony.org. This next performer has also been with us for quite some time, and I think that says something about our organization, how long young people stay with us. And the work is hard, 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 and they produce some amazing acts, like this next one on single point trapeze, a contortion aerial act presented by the sensational Sally. Wait, performed to Billie Holiday and Lester Young.
I forget to do those little ordinary things that everyone ought to do. I'm living in a kind of daydream. I'm happy as a queen, and foolish though it may seem to me. That's everything, the mere idea of you, the longing here for you. You'll never know how slow the moments go till I'm near to you. I see your face in every flower, your eyes in stars above. It's just the thought of you, the very thought of you, my love.
the sensational Sally. So my father always said one of the most important things he did was he produced a TV show called The Sound of Jazz. And the episode that had Billie Holiday and Lester Young on it, he thinks was the most amazing show ever. You can find it on YouTube. So, you know your kids are growing up when they start to drink coffee. And this young man now drinks black coffee. And when he's here, he gets to drink our coffee. Circus Harmony actually has its own coffee. I have to tell you about it. It's called Defy Gravity Coffee. It's an organic Guatemalan Colombian blend. I know I shouldn't be doing a commercial, but it's really good coffee. And it gives you a lift and helps a child soar all in one cup. So check it out. You can get it on our website. But this young person, coffee or no, for the last 4 years has been one of the top 40 jugglers in the world. He's also one of my biological sons. The other son, Keaton, is performing in France tonight, or by now he should be in bed. He should be. He's based now in Brisbane, Australia, with a company called Circa, and they're touring. They'll be in Sweden next month, if you happen to be in Sweden. I'm very thankful to École Nationale de Cirque, the National Circus School of Montreal, who let Kellen out of school to come down here and do this. And when I asked Kellen to do this, he said, okay, which musician do you want me to perform to? Because he'd been visiting my dad and had taken a treasure trove of CDs and cassettes, I think, up to Canada and was listening to all of them. And before I could answer, he said, never mind, I know just the piece. So he picked this. It was written by someone I found is born in St. Louis, Ernie Wilkins. It's played by Dizzy Gillespie, and the song was written for my father. It's called Groovin' for Nat. Kellen Quinn.
Our next tune is a composition by the well-known contemporary arranger Ernie Wilkins. It's an original title. What is it? Groovin' for Nat. Okay.
the incomparable Kellen Quinn. So Ken and Nancy have been supporting us since we started going to Israel in 2007. When we were in Israel in 2014, we got stranded there because of the bombing between Gaza and Israel. And at night, on the entrance to every Arab village, there was a military presence. When we finally got home, our home office, our shows are in City Museum, but our home office is in Florissant. And 4 days after we returned from Israel, Ferguson exploded. And there was a military presence at the entrance to every street in my neighborhood. And it felt very much like being back in Israel. So Circus Harmony's response to that was to start Peace Through Pyramids, the project we had with the Israelis here at home. So we did a Peace Through Pyramids with children from Ferguson and children from Saul Mirowitz Jewish Community School, who the head of school, Cheryl Mayan, is here. You saw her son earlier on the unicycle. In fact, she was in Israel at a conference for Jewish teachers when the bombing started, and she came from Tel Aviv up to be with us in the northern part of Israel and stayed in an Arab village with one of the families. The head of our board was also with us as a chaperone. And Jill McGuire is here somewhere. The Regional Arts Commission helped us fund and start Peace Through Pyramids Ferguson, which now, thanks to the National Endowment for the Arts, which you guys, you got to help us keep it going. The NEA, the Sci Foundation, and the Greater St. Louis Community Foundation, thanks to their help, we now have 3 Peace Through Pyramids groups. We have Ferguson Mirowitz, we have one with the College School and KIPP Academy, and we're just starting a new one with Ames Elementary School on the north side and Malincrot Elementary School. Ames on the north side and Malincrot on the south side, because we use circus arts to bring people together. This next act, I'm so proud to present to you. These are 2 of our alumni. They've been touring the world. This past year, they've been in Turkey, Argentina, Russia, France, Spain, Austria, Sweden, and I'm probably leaving out a few. In the middle of the night one night, I got an email from Argentina. I don't know anyone in Argentina, saying he had just seen this amazing show, and he recognized these 2 young men from seeing them in a show at City Museum. And he just wanted to tell me how amazing they were and to congratulate me and them on the work. Somebody in the audience when we were out there said some friends of theirs had just seen this amazing show in Santa Barbara. And if you want to see the whole show, it's from a company called 7 Fingers, and we're grateful to 7 Fingers for letting them come here tonight. They have to be at the airport tomorrow at 6 in the morning, guys. Do not be late, I promised them, to go to Detroit. You can see them in Detroit. You can see them in New York. They'll be in New York the middle of April, then New Hampshire. There's some other towns in between. I know they're in Richmond, Virginia for a night, and they'll be in Ottawa in July, but it is worth going to any of those cities to see the full show. I'm really glad to bring you this act. Now, this act, we're not performing to jazz music. This act is performed to the soundtrack they use in the show. It's kind of a shortened version, but it's an interview that was done with these young men the summer of 2014 before Mike Ferguson was killed. And this is the soundtrack and the act and the 2 young men who have been traveling all over the world. I bring you Sidney, Iking Bateman, and Melvin Diggs.
It was strange because I didn't like reading, and I don't know if it was because of the fries or what, but I always looked forward to Sundays. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get those rally fries and read that book. I'm like, whoa, Did I just say read a book?
St. Louis is my hometown, born and raised, and I love it like 100%, like, because it made me who I am right now.
It was a nice party. It was also a nice time because everyone in my family was there after the funeral.
Out of 5 people out, probably one person like will catch what I'm trying to say. They know this life in St. Louis for so long. They don't know anything else. It got to a point where it's like, you know what? I'll die young. I don't care. You're just waiting. I feel like living in St. Louis, you're constantly waiting. You're just sitting there waiting to see, oh, okay, so when am I gonna get shot? When am I gonna go to jail? Like, this is it. Out of 5 people out, this is it.
All of these things are normal, and like I was next in line to be like my brother or my uncle, and I got out of that. So I didn't spend my time angry or sad. I was always happy because I could have been in a worse place. For me, I just felt like free.
Sad thing to say because that's where I'm from and that's my hometown, but I feel like even if I give them this positive like uprising and tell them all the great things and be there for them 100%, for sure they could totally be something great like from St. Louis, but I feel like the margin and the percentage of that is so small that I'm not willing to take that risk.
If they were here, maybe I would be with my brothers, and my brothers are my uncles. Like I don't want that. Like, all that stuff that happened to my family, it makes me want to be a great dad. It makes me want to have a great family. It makes me want to leave St. Louis and never look back.
Hi, King and Melvin. So that act was started. It was the act they did when they finished at École Nationale de Cirque, and it symbolized to them when they created the act the doors they had to go through, the hoops they had to jump through to escape from St. Louis. And I haven't heard that soundtrack for a while, but the part where King was saying, I just want to be a great dad, where are they? Maddie and Zach? He is a great dad. So I thought of ending with that act, and King said, "You want to end with something sad or something happy?" So we're ending with something else. Oh, but I also want to mention that King wouldn't have been here if it weren't for Dr. Diane Rankin, who's out there, and she was his mentor. I can't see anything. She was his mentor. She was the one that got him to read with the Rally Fries and brought him to Circus Harmony. These kids come from all over and find us in all different ways. Like I said, I've been doing this since 1989. Some of them see us at City Museum. Some of them see us at Circus Flora. I know Larry Mabry is out there and Karen Childers from Circus Flora. And this year, King's doing a new, so new he doesn't even have the prop yet. It's being shipped to my house, a Chinese pole act. So you're going to have to come for that. And of course, the St. Louis Arches will be performing again with Circus Flora. The day after that, we have to be in Washington, D.C. for the Smithsonian 50th Anniversary Folklife Festival. So come see us on the National Mall. It's amazing. We are representing the Midwest, youth circus, and social circus. And this is the act they saw when they invited us. So I hope that this evening is giving you a flavor of just how we defy gravity and social injustice. The song that they're performing to is a Benny Goodman song. You'll probably recognize it. Ari thinks Benny Goodman is God. He told me that himself. And he wasn't a particularly close friend of my father's, but he called my father when he needed a recommendation for a saxophone player. But this song was played at a groundbreaking concert, Carnegie Hall, 1938, a jazz concert. It was amazing. And Benny Goodman and a lot of other jazz musicians broke the color barrier because Benny would say, if you want my band to play, I need my musicians. And a number of them were black. And that was really an act of great courage and something very new then. And we're still having this conversation now. So that's part of why I chose Sing, Sing, Sing. And for the historical significance, it's also a song that we've used at Circus Harmony for pretty much every act you can think of. So now I'm proud to present the current St. Louis Arches. And where's Carrie Hauk? I know Tennessee Williams. If we can do all this in here, you'll be fine with the Tennessee Williams Festival. So you should all come see that. And now I bring you Circus Harmony's St. Louis Arches. Sarah and Isabella. Sally. Ollie. Malik, Ari, and Oliver. Kyron and Finn. And our champion, Chauncey! Out here. The St. Louis Arches, current and alumni. From Circus Harmony. Circus Harmony St. Louis Arches. So I need to do a shout out. Where's Laura Carpenter-Balding? If it weren't for Laura and David Balding, there wouldn't be St. Louis Arches. They're the ones who sent me into the city to start teaching. Started with 10 totally inner city kids, 3 of them from Gallaudet School for the Deaf. And now look. So thank you. And there are so many of you here who have had a part in the growth of this and the stories of each of those children. Special thanks to Richard Katz, who's my personal assistant. I don't know if that's the right word, but my boyfriend, Richard Katz. And, of course, to Ken and Nancy Kransberg, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm so proud of these young people. And something that I have, and somebody came to me at Jazz at the Bistro at the book club and said how fortunate I was to have this. I know my dad was really, really proud of the work I do. And there are people who spend their whole lives trying to make their parents proud of them. My dad was really proud of me. And he was really proud of Circus Harmony and all these kids. So towards the end, he kept telling me that my work was more important and I touched more people than he did. That's certainly not true. And I hope you'll take the program home and read it and look him up if you don't know him. Read some of his books. Follow the Flying Children of Circus Harmony. We're at City Museum all the time. We'll be at Circus Floor. We'll be in D.C. The ones who are traveling are going back on the road. We're all over the world now. So thank you very much for letting us make your day a circus day. And that's Defying Gravity and Social Injustice. Guys, come on back up. And this is how we do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a round of applause for... We are so fortunate in St. Louis to have a national treasure here. We are so incredibly fortunate. The work that she does for the world. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Jessica Hentoff.
See you at the circus.